Inner City is the favourite still, strong favourite, 6-4. Catrail 4-1, and Al Hijaz has gone from 5s to 9-2, back to its original price. Swing Low 10-1. Hazam 11-1 from 10s. Bit of money for Calling Collect. It's gone from 20-1 to 16s. Still on 20-1 is Al Flora. Feminine Wild, same price, 20-1, and a Powerful Edge has drifted out from 33-1 to 40-1.
Well, in a very short moment, they'll be going into the stalls. This is number 3, El Flora. Won his last start, beating the useful Thurios by half a length in a small race at Lingfield. That was back in May. He usually likes to bowl along somewhere near the front rank. I think we'll see Michael Kinane come out of stall 6. But Thurios paid tribute to that form with that good run at Epsom, John, didn't he?
Yes, Thurios went very close in the Diamond Stakes. Even so, I think Al Flora's got to find quite a bit against today's opposition, like Inner City and Catrail. But he's a very consistent horse. Although he's only managed 2 wins, he's nearly always thereabouts.
Most of the jockeys have got up with a little bit of an edge on this morning. Apart from maybe winning a derby, a jockey's ambition really, John, is to come here and ride winners. A winner, if not winners, here at the Royal Meet.
Well, Mick Kinane has won the derby. He was a late booking here for Al Flora. And he booked yesterday for this colt by Naniski.
Quite a tricky track to ride this, the straight mile. You've got to give your horse a bit of a chance. It takes a lot of getting. It's a big climb up to the winning post. It's a little bit undulating, but there's number 8, Feminine Wiles, with John Reed in the saddle, and a lot of money's come for John to finish up leading rider here at Ascot. You can see Feminine Wiles has just got a tongue strap on there, and as I was saying, people have been backing John. I fancied him when he was 12-1, I think, with some of the leading bookmakers, and in fact, a lot of shrewd judges have thought that he's got a great chance. He's riding for the Chapelheim stable, and in fact, I did say he got a tongue strap, and in fact, I think that is the French-style bit, and not a tongue strap. It's rather like our Chiffneys, but what it does do, it stops the horse from getting his tongue over the bridle. This filly is a pretty useful performer. She's by Ahanora, and pretty consistent, John.
Yes, so she's another who's got a lot to do to reverse the form with Swing Low in the Locking Stakes. John Reed's got a very good ride on Stonehatch in the Coventry Stakes later, and other good rides at the meeting too. The favourite Inner City, I think, is the last to go in, so let's join Peter O'Sullivan.
Yes, Inner City into stall 2. That's Powerful Edge nearest to us and they're away. Powerful Edge breaks well towards the near side. Hazam coming over from the far side. And electing to come up the centre of the course, these 9 runners, with Al Hijaz, one of those prominent in the early stages. 4 representatives, Al Flora actually the leader, Al Flora the leader, 4 representatives of Sheikh Mohammed. Catrail is close up on the near side in those blue bandages, with Al Hijaz a close third on the far side, but Al Flora taking him along from Al Hijaz and Catrail. Then comes Powerful Edge, just on being tracked by Powerful Edge, Inner City. But it's still Al Flora the leader. Al Flora from Catrail in the distinguishing sash there under Ray Cochrane. On the far side, Al Hijaz. The black cap there in the Mohammed colours. Calling Collect on the far side. Inner City on the near side, and between horses Powerful Edge. But still Al Flora the leader. Al Flora from Catrail in second, Al Hijaz third over on the far side. Inner City getting closer all the time towards the right of the picture, with just in behind them Swing Low making his effort now. Inside the final 2 furlongs, Al Flora being pressed by Catrail and Inner City, the favourite, coming there strongly to take it up now under Michael Roberts. And Inner City is the leader as they race into the final 150 yards. It's Inner City from Al Flora. Hazam putting in a good run over on the far side, but Inner City from Al Flora. Al Flora fighting back as they come to the line. It's going to be close. Al Flora's got up to win it at the line. Al Flora the winner from Inner City in second, with Hazam third and Swing Low 4. And so that powerful surge of Al Flora ridden by Mick Kinane, looks as though he's come there to save the bookmakers. Officially, it's a photo finish at the end of the opening race at the Royal Ascot Festival, the Queen Anne Stakes, but I think we'll find that the winner is number 3, Alflora, owned by Circle Chart Limited, trained by Clive Britton and ridden by Mick Kinane, that Irish jockey, Irish champion who has such a remarkable record for spare rides in this country, and of course who won the Derby on Commander-in-Chief. And he's in a photograph with the British champion, Inner City, South African-born British champion, Michael Roberts on Inner City, owned by Sheikh Mohammed, trained by Luca Kumani, with another of the Sheikh Mohammed runners, number 5, Hazam, trained by Michael Stout and ridden by Walter Swinburne. I think we'll find third. But it's a photo finish officially, but I think once again Mick Kinane has got up in the closing stages.
Well, what a disappointment for favourite backers, because everything seemed to be going according to plan. There's the favourite, one from the right, travelling well for Michael Roberts. Meanwhile, up front, Alflora has always been in the van, but seemed to be coming to the end of his tether here as Michael Kinane asked him for a question. Michael Roberts says go, and Inner City quickens up really well to come and join the horse who'd led up until this point, and to quickly go a length clear. Hazam's run a really good race on the far side, and Swing Low's run a terrific race on the stand side in the blue colours. But just as Inner City went 3/4 of a length up and the backers were starting to count their money, he's come back again at Michael Roberts, and Michael Kinane, who doesn't know defeat in big races in this country, asks his mount for another effort, and he responds. And suddenly, having been in front obviously too long, Inner City runs into a complete hole, and Alflora thrusts his head in front again, 3 or 4 strides from the line. Hazam on the far side, third, and Swing Low, fourth. The winner in the photo, well, we're convinced it's the winner, Alflora 20-1, the favourite Inner City, the 6-4 favourite.
Yes, little doubt that this son of Naniski, out of Adrana, who's returning unhesitatingly to the number 1 spot, has upset the first good thing at Royal Ascot. Still awaiting the numbers. Alflora, just to remind you, is number 3. Inner City is number 6. And Mick Kinane, the first, I think we'll find, to get his name on the Ritz Club charity board, and with some very live rides at the meeting as well. A wonderful start for Clive Britton, who's having a crack in the big one, the St James's Palace Stakes, with Needle Gun, son of Shaw Blade, who won the St James's Palace himself in 1986. That St James's Palace, although we're naturally disappointed not to see Zaphonic, will still be an intriguing race with King Mambo. Already a classic winner this season, ridden by Cash Asmussen, who's won 3 classics in France this year. Here comes the outcome of the photograph. First, number 3, Alflora. Second, number 6, Inner City. Third, number 5, Hazam. Fourth, number 2, Swing Low. So just to repeat, first, number 3, Alflora, owned by Circle Chart Limited, trained by Clive Britton and ridden by Mick Kinane. Second, number 6, Inner City, owned by Sheikh Mohammed, trained by Luca Kumani, ridden by Michael Roberts. Third, number 5, Hazam, owned by Sheikh Mohammed, trained by Michael Stout, ridden by Walter Swinburne. And fourth, number 2, Swing Low, and the starting prices as follows.
First, number 3, Alflora, 20-1. Second, number 6, Inner City, 6-4 favourite. And third, number 5, Hazam, 11-1.
Let's have a look at number 9. This is a filly I like very much. Urban Sea has shown fair form in her 16 starts, winning on 4 occasions and placing in 6 others. She won the Prix-Exprès at St. Cloud in March, which usually takes a pretty smart performance. It's one of the first group races in France, in fact. And last season placed in the Prix Vermeil which shows she's a pretty useful filly. She looked well, she's got cash in the saddle, and I think probably will show her presence here, John.
She certainly should do. She looks very hard trained, well in her coat, but not a lot of her. You can probably get a good view of her there. She's run up just a little bit light, but very fit and well. She wasn't far behind in a Group 2, over a mile and a half behind Modiche. Had Saint-Cloud on her last run, having come back from Chartin earlier. So she's much travelled. Like Cash's last ride, Calling Collect, which had come all the way from Dubai to run in the Queen Anne Stakes.
He's talking to Mick Kinane. Mick on Lucky Lindy on the far side there, has ability, but has possibly disappointed Richard Hannon in his 3 runs this year. The last at Newbury, that was in the Locking Stakes, when last of the 10 runners behind Swing Low and Wharf, some 20 lengths off the winner. Well, I wonder if Mick Kinane can work the oracle here. There, in fact, is Young Signor, and goes in literally without any trouble at all.
That was very interesting, Jimmy, because at Newbury, when he won last time, he took quite a while to go in, and this time he's gone in with no trouble at all. Let's have a look at the betting. And George Augustus and Azud are joint favourites at 9-2. Young Signor and Placeville are both 6-1. Urban Sea 8-1, and Harmonic 9-1. Emperor Jones 10-1. Lucky Lindley 14-1. Young Buster 20-1. Via Parigi and Spartan Sharif 25-1. At least Spartan Sharif opened at 25-1 and has now gone out to 40-1 in an attempt to give Clive Britton a very long-priced double to the Royal Meeting, having won the first with Al Flora.
Let's have a look at Enharmonic in the Royal colours, and in fact he's won his stable lad Richard Auckland £100 for the best turned out, and he really did look well in the paddock. I watched him in fact on his last run at Epsom, and when he was going down to the start, I was working with Peter Bromley that day, and I said to Peter, well, crumbs, he's gone down bad, this horse, but he certainly came back a lot better because he was a worthy winner.
Used to take a really fierce hold in his races as a young horse. Now at the age of 6 he seems to settle much better, seemed to settle all right. 5-1 joint favourite still, though they've both gone out half a point. Azud and George Augustus. Young Signor clear third favourite at 11-2, 6-1 bar. The last to go in is number 12, Via Parigi from Ireland. Here's Peter O'Sullivan.
That's it. Under orders for the Princess of Wales, and they're running. And going up on the outside is Spartan Sharif, but Young Buster going to take it up now. Young Buster, the early leader, with Placeville going up to be second on the outside. Lucky Lindy is prominent just in behind them. And on the inside, the French challenger Urban Sea, with Young Signor upsides him, but Young Buster making it doubtless for Young Signor, with Placeville second. Then the second colours of Sheikh Mohammed on Emperor Jones go third ahead of Urban Sea now for Young Signor 5. 6 going up on the outside is Lucky Lindy, also making a forward move, and a swift forward move too is Spartan Sharif, but Young Buster the leader still. Young Buster from Placeville. Spartan Sharif has gone third now, just ahead of Urban Sea, with on Urban Sea's outside Emperor Jones, then Lucky Lindy, and Harmonic comes next. The back marker at the moment is George Augustus, and past the 5 pole, still Young Buster the leader. From Placeville in second, Spartan Sharif third, 4 on the inside then is Urban Sea, with 5 on the outer Emperor Jones, then Lucky Lindy. Just in behind Lucky Lindy is Enharmonic, making a bit of ground on the inside, with Young Signor very close. the backmarkers via Parigi. They're swinging into the home turn, and Young Buster is still the leader. Young Buster making it from Placerville in second. Then comes Spartan Sharif and Harmonic making good ground on the far side. Urban Sea still well in contention. Young Senor making a run towards the outside, with also Ford Augustus and Lucky Lindy. Ezud's got a lot to do at the moment, and it's still Young Buster being pressed by Placerville. And then comes Urban Sea delivering a challenge under Cash Asmussen, and it's Placerville who's taken it up now from Urban Sea. Urban Sea delivering a challenge to Placerville as they come to the line. Urban Sea, Placerville. Placerville has won it from Urban Sea, with in third place Emperor Jones and fourth Ford Augustus. Placerville has won it for me from Urban Sea, with Pat Edery just holding that challenge, determined long challenge of Cash Asmussen on Urban Sea. Officially it's a photo finish, but I think we'll find that this is a winner for Pat Edery, a fourth winner in the Prince of Wales Stakes if he's won it too, with number 11 Placerville, owned by Prince Khaled Abdallah, trained by Henry Cecil, in a photo finish, with number 9 Urban Sea, owned by Mr. David Suey, trained in France by Jean Lebord and ridden by Cash Asmussen, with probably third number 10 Emperor Jones, owned by Sheikh Mohammed, trained by John Gosden and ridden by Ray Cochrane, with very close behind them another Sheikh Mohammed runner, number 2 George Augustus. But I think we'll find that Placerville, in the Commander-in-Chief colours, which would of course have been carried also by Zophonic this afternoon, have prevailed in this Prince of Wales Stakes from the French challenger and that determined challenge of Cash Asmussen and Urban Sea. Just to remind you, Placerville's number 11, Urban Sea is number 9.
A great triumph this for the 3-year-olds, and he's always had a good position, this horse. Pat Edery's brought him under pressure 2 out, and he's responded really well. George Augustus came from a long way off the pace, and it didn't really suit him coming round his horses. He prefers to go through horses. Ezud still last at this stage. He was held up for a very, very late run for Walter Swinburne. Enharmonic flattered for a moment, but Urban Sea has run a terrific race here, coming from off the pace, moves into a challenging position here. Just for a moment looked as though she might pull back Placerville, but couldn't find any more in the last 100 yards. George Augustus comes here at this point, but it was never quite going to quicken again. And Emperor Jones on the far side, Ray Cochrane's brought him late too, and he's on really courageously. But at the line, Placerville holds on to win narrowly from the French challenger Urban Sea, and it looks as though Emperor Jones has just got there for third. The winner, or what we think is the winner, returned 11-2.
And what we think is the second, 8-1. That's Placerville by Mr. Prospector out of Classy Cathy. Only twice beaten in 5 runs, assuming his success this afternoon. A marvellous record in this race for Pat Edery, won it in 86, 89 and 90. It wasn't until 1968 that this race, the Prince of Wales Stakes, was first run for 3-year-olds and over. It used to be the Rouse Memorial Stakes. And in 1968, it was the first running was won by Connaught for the late Mr. Jim Joel. And at that meeting, Jim was also responsible for Royal Palace, the Derby winner, and he also bred them both. And his total haul, as it were, as the leading owner, which they made him at Royal Ascot in 1968, was £9,082. And today's Prince of Wales Stakes carries a penalty value of 57,379, which is £44,201 to the winner. If penalty values confuse you, that is the money that the owner would receive but for deductions, and that is the amount calculated for future penalties. First, number 11, Placerville. Second, number 9, Urban Sea. Third, number 10, Emperor Jones. And fourth, number 2, George Augustus. And the starting prices as follows.
First, number 11, Placerville, 11-2. The second, number 9, Urban Sea, 8-1. Third, number 10, Emperor Jones, 10-1. And for the first time in the meeting, an odds-on favourite, King Mambo is a strong favourite, 5-2 on. Wharf, second favourite, 4-1. Needle Gun, 8-1, and Venti Quattrofogli, 16-1.
Phonic, who King Mambo just beat in France early in the season. What a shame that Symphonic isn't here to try and take his revenge. Cash just passed there by Pat Eddery on Wharf, and there is Venti Quattrofogli, number 3, the third favourite, Jimmy.
Yes, he's got a little bit warm on his way down to the start, John. He made his 3-year-old debut in the Craven Stakes at Newmarket, and he finished a good third behind Emperor Jones. He was only about a length and a half off the winner. His other 2 runs this season have been in Italy. On the last occasion, that was in Milan 9 days ago, turned in another good performance to finish a close third behind the youthful Culture Vulture, and that's pretty good form. I could see him running himself into the picture. 14-1 from 16, somebody else does, John.
He was only just behind Wharf in the Craven Stakes, half a length behind. He was a 25-1 shot on that occasion, came very wide up the stand side and looked for a moment as if he was going to cause an upset, but in the end he finished third to Emperor Jones and Wharf. That's Needle Gun with Venti Quattrofogli. Needle Gun has run 6 times and has yet to win a race, but he has been second on 4 occasions, including his last 2, and definitely his best run on paper was when he was only a neck behind Commander-in-Chief at York just about a month ago, getting £6 from the winner, and he really looked almost sure to beat Commander-in-Chief inside the last furlong, but was worried out of it in the last 50 yards. Tony Donnelly gets £100 for the Best Turned Out award. He's being in charge of Needle Gun. Needle Gun was also in the King Edward VII Stakes, a race that's run just after we go off the air, over 1.5 miles. Clive Britton has elected to run him here. I think if the ground had remained fast, which it looked like doing after the very warm weather we had last week, if that good weather had been maintained, I think Needle Gun would have taken his chance in the 1.5 mile race. But I'm sure that in the absence of Symphonic, Clive is very glad he's having a shot at this St James's Palace Stakes, which is one of the highlights of the meeting. Some years ago it used to be run as the last race on the card, but very rightly that was changed, because usually it is a tremendous race. Though the very first one I saw was a 2-horse race between the 2,000 guineas winner Venture the 7th, that trained in France, ridden by George Moore, and that was just a 2-horse affair, and he was something like 33-1 on. But normally it's a very competitive race, and a lot of the top milers meet in it. Last year, Brief Truce just got it in a very exciting finish. Pat Eddery just having a chat with somebody aboard Wharf, the Stormbird colt. Starters calling out the draw for places, just to remind the jockeys, normally the odd numbers go in first. That's stalls 1 and 3, and then the even numbers, unless there are any horses that particularly need to go in early or late. But all these horses fairly cool, 3 of them anyway. Venti Quattrofogli was possibly just a shade, getting a shade warm on the way to the start. Needle Gun Drawn at number 1. That's on the outside on this left-handed course. 2 of them in. 24 Foley is in, and Needle Gun is in. There's the favourite King Mambo. Wharf is the last of the 4 to be installed. Just having a look, all the others went in perfectly. I think it won't be too long before Wharf joins them. And here's Peter O'Sullivan.
Wharf just a little bit restive under Pat Edery. Backs out again.
Blindfold.
And a blindfold's been called for. Wharf bidding to become Henry Cecil's 4th winner of this St James's Palace Stakes, and King Mambo, winner of the French 2,000 guineas during a season when Francois Boutang, and welcome Francois here to Ascot, has swept the board in the French Classics. King Mambo bidding to become the first French-trained winner since venture in 1960. 5-2 on, 9-2 bar, that's it, they're all in, under orders, and they're away. Needle Gun towards the right of the picture, King Mambo on the near side. Between horses, Wharf and 24 Foley. Towards the left of the picture, King Mambo. Over on the right, 24 Foley, but Needle Gun, the leader on the near side. 24 Foley going very wide and being chased by Wharf on the far side, and on the near side, it's Needle Gun and King Mambo. Spread wide apart as they pass the 6th pole. 24 Foley on the far side from Wharf. On the near side, Needle Gun and King Mambo. Needle Gun on the near side, being followed all the time by King Mambo over on the far side. 24 Foley tracked by Wharf and coming over now abruptly towards the stand side. 24 Foley. Willie Carson looks over his right shoulder. Towards the left is Needle Gun, leading King Mambo. Into the straight now. Needle Gun the leader from 24 Foley. Wharf and King Mambo just the back marker of the quartet now as they're into the short Ascot straight. And Needle Gun is the leader from 24 Foley. Looking for room over on the far side, King Mambo. And he's going to be eased out by Cash Moose. And they're past the 2 marker. Needle Gun from 24 Foley on the right of the picture, and still looking for room is King Mambo. King Mambo, a slight collision there with Wharf, but quickening now, and King Mambo quickens now as they race inside the final furlong. King Mambo on the near side, Needle Gun on the far side. King Mambo takes it up and is going to win it, and as they come to the line, King Mambo wins the St James's Palace Stakes. Needle Gun is second, 24 Foley is third, and 4th is Wharf. There could just be a steward's inquiry there, because these horses did come close together when Cash Asmussen was trying desperately to get out. But the 1, 2, 3, 4 in the 1993 St James's Palace Stakes is first. Number 1, King Mambo, owned by Mr. Stavros Niarchos, trained by Francois Boutin and ridden by Cash Asmussen. Second, number 2, Needle Gun, owned by Mr. Saeed Manana, trained by Clive Britton and ridden by Michael Roberts. And third, number 3, 24 Foley, owned by Jericon Italia, trained by John Dunlop and ridden by Willie Carson, with 4th, number 4, Wharf. And here is a heart-stopping thought as we reflect on the disqualification under very contentious circumstances of Cash Asmussen on Royal Gate in the Gold Cup. Will he be considered to have contravened the rules on King Mambo? This is the big question that the stewards will have to deliberate following the announcement of stewards' inquiry.
Well, a dramatic and very confused race, and the confusion was caused by Pat Edery and Willie Carson coming over to the far side, then coming back as they came round towards the straight to move over towards the stand rails, leaving Cash Asmussen, who'd always been tracking Needle Gun and Michael Roberts on the far rails, to have to either come through or barge his way, or round or barge his way through his rivals. Pat Edery wasn't going to let him out. Willie Carson still pumping away there. Now half a split comes between Carson and Edery. Cash goes for it, but was he entitled to? Did he brush Pat Edery as he came through? Goes for his stick here. In the last furlong, is he going to get there? Yes, he certainly is, because although Needlegun's run a terrific race, he hasn't got the resources to hold King Mambo, but having won by length a little bit more, well, now you can see what the stewards are holding their inquiry about, because Cash Asmussen, with a line of 3 horses in front of him and only half a horse's width between each horses, would he go round as Peter anticipated he would at the 2 furlong marker? Right now he thinks, well, I may have left it too late to go for that, so he decides that he's going to go through. And here he comes. This is the moment. Was there a gap to go through there? Well, you can't really say that there was. And in getting through, has he brushed Pat Edery? Pat didn't have to stop riding, but the 3 of them have come very close indeed. And this is one of those inquiries where it's going to be a case of jockey's evidence. If Pat Edery said, well, there was a gap there, then Cash could get away with it. But certainly when he went for that gap, you'd have to say that there barely was a gap. He gets there. King Mambo is by far the outstanding horse in the race. But sadly, this hasn't been a lucky country for Stavros Niarchos. He lost to 2,000 guineas, and there's a great danger now that he's going to lose at St James's Palace Stakes.
Well, of course, he lost the 2,000 guineas under very controversial circumstances with Nureyev, but I would be surprised if Nureyev's grandson loses the St James's Palace. King Mambo's Dam, of course, the great Miesk was by Nureyev, and a very controversial disqualification that was when he was ridden by Philippe Paquet at Newmarket. This was Cash's 4th ride in the St James's Palace. He was 4th in 84, 5th in 87, 7th in 88. He must have fancied his chances of being 3rd at one stage in this race, despite the fact that he had so much horse underneath him.
The distances, 1.5 lengths and 3/4 of a length.
Well, the distances were very conclusive, 1.5 lengths and 3/4 of a length. And subject to the outcome of the Stewards' inquiry, here are the starting prices.
And first, number 1, King Mambo, 5-2 on favourite. Second, number 2, Needle Gun, 13-2. And third, number 3, Ventiquattro Foglie, 16-1 for Rat. And that weak favourite, Stone Hatch, has dropped to even money. And the opposition, Wajiba River, for example, is 5-2 from 11-4. Over to 3s, actually, is now 5-2. Crazy Paving, 11-2 from 13-2. And there's money even for Polish Laughter, which has gone from 20s to 16-1. Same as Kanaska Dancer, 20s to 16-1 now. And Sharp Phase, 25-1.
There's number 1 going into stall 1, in fact, Kanaska Dancer, trained by Paul Kellaway. I think you've got a little story on Paul, John.
Yes, unfortunately, Paul has to go in the hospital on Monday because of some injured vertebrae in his back. He was quite badly troubled last week. He calls it Plumptonitis because he had too many falls at Plumpton as a jump jockey a few years ago. But I certainly hope he'll be better soon, and I'm glad his horses, especially his 2-year-olds, are running so well.
You're right about the falls, John. I saw them dig our old Paul Kellaway out of the ground many a time around Plumpton, but he also rode some very good winners. Well, they're going into stalls pretty quickly. There's only 6 of them. Let's go to Peter.
Just
Keep an eye on Alan Munro.
Polish Laughter and Wajiba Riva to go. This is Wajiba Riva and Pat Edery. And that's it, all in for the Coventry and away. And the first to show is the Irish Hope Sharp Phase, Sharp phase going on in the early stages, and a blazing gallop too from Kanaska Dancer towards the right of the picture. Over on the far side is Polish Laughter, with the white face of Stone Hatch showing over on the far side, but it's Sharp Phase and Jason Bean and Polish Laughter on the far side. Polish Laughter and Sharp Phase, these two disputing it. Kanaska Dancer on the near side, pulling double over on the far side is Stone Hatch, with Jiba Reba just in behind him, and towards the near side, Crazy Paving, as they race now towards the halfway mark in the Coventry Stakes. And as they do so, Polish over on the far side, Polish Laughter in the center, Sharp Phase, these two still disputing it, with Stone Hatch improving all the time over on the far side, showing there with his white face on the near side, Crazy Paving. And now Stone Hatch coming to challenge the leaders as they race down to the furlong pole. And Wajiba Reba coming between horses to put in a challenge too. It's Stone Hatch now from Wajiba Reba. Stone Hatch, Wajiba Reba and Polish Laughter as they race into the closing stages. Stone Hatch from Polish Laughter. Stone Hatch is going to win it at the line. Stone Hatch is the winner. Polish Laughter is second. Just third is Wajiba Reba ahead of the Irish challenger. Sharp Phase, behind Sharp Phase is Crazy Paving, and last was Kanaska Dancer. And so the result of the Coventry Stakes is first, number 5, Stone Hatch, owned by Mr. Robert Sangster, trained by Peter Chapelheim and ridden by John Reed. Second was number 3, Polish Laughter, owned by Mr. Juma Humaid, trained by Ben Hanbury and ridden by Walter Swinburne. And third was number 6, Wajiba Reba, who faded in the closing stages, owned by the winning team, trained by Richard Hannon and ridden by Pat Edery, with fourth, number 4, Sharp Phase. Stone Hatch getting an immediate 20-to-1 quote for the 2,000 guineas from Hills, who laid 25-to-1 after his York debut win, and a 50,000-to-3 yesterday. Very impressive winner indeed, because he was being held up all the time by John Reed. Came there in the closing stages, never really looked like getting run over until Wajiba Reba delivered quite a significant challenge, which he didn't really go through with, or wasn't able to go through with, I should say, to be fairer to him. Anyway, Stone Hatch the winner.
Yes, this was a pretty good performance. As Peter said, he was always pulling over his rivals. Ground didn't perhaps entirely suit him when he pulled down. At this point, Polish Laughter still in front on the far side, and John Reed pulls out here, and Pat Edery just for a moment finds himself in no man's land, not sure whether to go between that gap, which was closing between the Irish horse Sharp Phase rather, and Polish. He then decides to pull round and try and go through the split between Polish Laughter and John Reed, who's now on the outside. But in the end, he probably wasn't good enough anyway, because John Reed's pushed the button now, and although his horse doesn't quicken quite in the way that he thought he would, and his head carriage perhaps isn't altogether as he'd wish, the fact is he's got the resources here. Pat's now pulled to the outside in Wajiba Reba, but the job that he's had getting there has left him without resources in the last half furlong, and in the end it's Polish Laughter who runs on again for Walter Swinburne, runs a really good race in second place. Running on in fourth place is Sharp Phase. For a moment, Crazy Paving flattered behind the leaders, but he was done with in the last furlong. Better ground would probably suit him better. So Stone Hatch remains unbeaten and gives Robert Sangster his first success of the meeting. Even money is the starting price. Now here's the problem that Pat Edery faced, because there he was on Wajiba Reba. Where was he going to go? Was he going to go round like that, or was he going to try and go through this gap or that gap? The same sort of problem that Cash Asmussen faced. Well, in the end, Pat felt that he wasn't going well enough to go round, so this is what happened. John Reed's gone now on Stone Hatch, and Pat's just hoping that those two horses in front of him, Walter riding with his whip in his left hand, he was hoping there'd be a little bit of a split between that horse and Sharp Phase with Jason Bean, but that clearly wasn't going to happen, so he just misses a stride there, Pat. Goes for a gap between Walter and John Reed, but once again that isn't going to happen, so he decides to take the easy option. But by now it was all over, and Stone Hatch coming towards us, as you can see, not sprinting away in the way that he did at York, but still winning with authority and certainly confirming his status as the best two-year-old that we've seen so far. Second, Polish Laughter, and third, Wajiba Reba. The fourth horse confirmed, Sharp Phase, and the distance is 1.5 3/4.
Here's Tsar, of course, Stormbird, trained by the great Vincent de Bruyn, who now just amuses himself, but still in his very, very professional way, by training about 10 horses of his own, one of which he may well bring here for the Cork and Orrery Stakes. Especially Vincent, you'll be heartened by the fact that the nice bit of give in the ground, which I understand you hope for on behalf of Chapel Cottage. Stonehatch by Stormbird, out of Lively Living by Key to the Mint, a second winner in the Coventry Stakes for John Reed, who won it back in 1984 on Primo Domini. John Reed, well fancied to get his name on the Ritz Club Charity Trophy Board, has done so in one of the most important races of the meeting, on which the starting prices are as follows.
First, number 5, Stonehatch, even money favourite. Second, number 3, Polish Laughter, 16 to 1. And third, number 6, Wajiba Riva, 5 to 2. 6 rand.